Good morning, stampers and crafters. Welcome to Tina's Crafty Spot. I'm Tina. This is our monthly Team Stamp It blog haul. Tammy does these every month. I do them for you. This month's theme is Christmas in July. Well, I wanted to do something fun and different and a little out of my norm. We're going to do a fun fold. Yay! You know that these intimidate me, and the two fun folds we're going to do today are dioramas. And my girlfriend and I, Darlene, spent the better part of an entire day designing two different sizes of diorama for you. So the first one, we are going to do a slimline diorama, okay? And this is going to feature the caroling mice, which is a hostess set in the mini catalog, the new mini catalog. So we're going to design a slimline. See, when it folds down, it's going to fit into a slimline envelope. And we worked out all the bugs because we found when we tried to use just designer paper without a basic white backing, it was way too flimsy. Let me see if I have the first one I did. It made this front panel just way too flimsy because, you know, we're cutting the diorama out. So we're going to create a slim line, and then I thought, you know, a lot of people don't want to do a slim line or the envelopes. We're going to do a normal one that when it folds down, it fits in a regular 5x7 envelope. So these are the two dioramas we're going to create today. In the post below, I have typed up two PDFs for you, each with the diagrams of a regular diorama and the slimline diorama, all the score marks and measurements for you. So you will find those down below in PDFs, easy to print and follow along. So let's get started. Let's do the slimline first. We're going to do this little slimline guy first. And I'm going to bring in my cutter and we're going to do it together. So on our PDF, I'm going to grab the one for slimline. We need a front and a back panel that's 11 by 4. Okay, so I'm going to grab some basic white. Now, if you want, you could probably use thick basic white if you were just going to be stamping on it or, you know, stamping your designs and so forth. I would probably use thick basic white. But since I'm going to overlay my panels with some designer paper, I'm just going to use basic white. So we need two 11 by 4 sheets. Now your sheets are 8.5 by 11, so we just need two 4-inch panels. There's one. Come on, get on there. Get it in there. There's two. There's our two front and back panels. And we are going to score them at 2 inches from each side. So I'm just going to put this at 2 inches. I'm going to score it. I'm going to put it at 2 inches. Now, when you put your designer paper on these, you probably are going to have to score them again. So you can just wait to do this. I do it so I have it at reference. And I'm a creature of habit, so I just kind of do it. But like I said, if you're going to overlay these the way we're going to do, you could wait to score these till we overlay them. Now we need a center panel that's 9 inches by 4 inches. So let's do another 4-inch panel. Now these will fit in a legal size envelope, which is a 4-inch by 9.5-inch legal envelope. Okay, and then we need this to be 9 inches. And we're going to score at 1 inch from each side. Alright, we have our panels. How simple is that? Alright, so now I need to bring in my designer paper. And the paper I used for this Slimline, I used Santa Express, which is on the front, this fa la 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 la. I used Celebrate Everything. It's a pack of Hostess paper in the mini catalog that has like, I don't know, 48 sheets of all occasion paper. You can't miss it. I would definitely invest in that one. Okay, enough sales. Anyway, that's where this comes from, this one. And then the back panel comes from the Storybook Gnomes, and it is snowflakes. So let's go ahead and get those cut. So here is my back panel, and I'm going to go ahead and do that at the 11 by 4. So let's do 4. By 11. Oops, wrong blade. Wrong blade. Use your cutting blade. And now I'm just going to connect that to my back panel. And I will just use glue for this. I'm going to bring in my little glue hand here. Let me go ahead and cut them, and then we'll attach them. Then we'll be a little more organized about this. Okay, now the front one was the Santa Express, and now I want to make sure that my fa la las are going the right way. So that'll be the 4-inch. By 11. There's our front panel. And the center panel, I did that Celebrate Everything. Now again, you want to make sure if it's got a design, it's facing the right way. Okay, so our center panel, what I'm going to do for my center one is I'm just going to cut enough DSP to cover the folded panel. The reason I did the other ones the full length is because you can see they are kind of visible. So that makes this center panel is going to be 6 7/8 by 4. So 4, because we want our design go in the right direction. So let's do 4 inches by 6 7/8. And what that is that's the measurement between the two folds. There's our 6 7/8. Alright, now we're going to glue them to our panels. We'll set that aside. And you can see when you do your folds, we're going to be fixing these folds. But see, this is just going to fit right in here. So let's go ahead and glue that in. Oops. Goobert. This my glue is basically new. I got a new glue bottle going here, so it's kind of I use glue, you know that, so that I can move things around easily. So I'm just going to glue that right on our center panel. And there we have our center done. Now the score marks on the center panel, bring in your bolt folder, and you're going to do one fold facing forward. Okay. And you're going to do one fold facing back. Okay, so that's our center panel. And your front and back panels are the same size, so you're good to go. Put a little glue on here. Let me move this out of the way before I get it all dirty. My girlfriend and I, like I said, we spent the better part of a day trying to design and get all the measurements and folds just right. And wow, we had a lot of mock-ups. Okay, and then I'll rescore that. We'll let that dry a second while we put this one together. Make sure my paper's on there straight. Okay. And do our back panel. When you're overlaying like this, make sure you get your edges and corners really well so it doesn't, come apart or peel out. And I'll just tap mine to level them out. And there's our pretty back panel. We'll bring our scorer back in. What you can do is you're going to see the score lines you already did. But basically they're 2 inches. My paper's not glued. Let me do the one that's already dry. So we got our 2-inch score here. Then our 2-inch score. Okay. Oh, I forgot to score this one. We're going to do 2 inches. And 2 inches. Alright, now what we need to do is bring in our dies that we're going to use to create the actual diorama part. So the back we're not doing, but the front and the center we are. Okay, so I'm going to use the regular layering dioramas. Now you can use anything you want to create your diorama opening. You could use stitched rectangles, anything that's got a nesting though, because you need your front one big and your center one a little bit smaller. Okay, so what I'm going to use is I'm going to use number 3, counting 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, for the front, and number 4 for the middle. We're going to bring in our die cut machine. And if you go ahead and kind of crease your folds where they're at, just a little bit, then you can kind of see, you know what I mean, where you're going to be laying your die. So I want to center my big one. See, I can see my 2 crease sides here. So I'm going to center this in here. You can eyeball it, you can measure it, but since it's a kind of an abstract die, it's not going to be really evident how far you are from the edge or from your creases. If you're using a stitched or square or rectangle die, I would kind of probably measure in from your folds and put a little pencil mark. You know, say like it's 1.5 inches or an inch from each side, and then center your die. If you're using something that's going to show the difference. So we're going to run this through our machine. I got my machine off here to the side. So now when I did my center one, what I did, go ahead and save these. You can use these on a card. Put them on there and put an image next to it. So keep your die cuts. So now to get my center one to kind of line up, what I did is I lined up my folds. Okay, they're lined up together there where it's going to be. And then I took my smaller die and kind of, you know, positioned it the way I thought I wanted it, where it's going to be in the middle there, and then just picked up my top piece. Okay, and then we're going to run this through the die machine. You could probably use your mini die cut machine with these. My hand won't turn the mini. I love it. I do try to use it, but it's a kind of a weak hand day, so we're just going to use my regular machine. Okay, look at that. We are already ready to assemble. How simple is this, right? When I first saw the design or heard of people doing these dioramas, I thought, oh my god, how hard is that? But my girlfriend and I, we just started going for it. So, now, you're going to take your back panel, do your scores, okay? Make sure you use your bone folder. Because you got, you know, 2 layers of paper here, so you want to make sure it's scored crisply. Now, on this back panel, this is where you'll be writing your greeting or stamping, you know, images. On mine, I did a few of the notes from the stamp set. And then I can stamp a greeting or type my greeting in there, or, you know, write my greeting in there, and we're all set. So now is the time to do that. Okay, if you're going to stamp, write, or, you know, whatever you want to do in here to decorate it, I would stamp it now. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead, because I'm going to be using, or giving away this, I'm going to go ahead and get my notes stamped on there. And I can always write later. So I'm just going to take the notes, maybe put them a little staggered on my stamp block. And I'm just going to put a couple in the corners. Oh, I missed. Alrighty then. I'm just going to grab a marker and see if I can repair that. See, this is why I always use the stamp apparatus, because I miss when I hand stamp. Makes me mad. Let me grab a baby wipe real quick. Alright, so now we've got our back panel done. In this little caroling lights, what I did is like I always do now, is I stamp and cut out a bunch of the images and keep them in a little clear envelope in with my stamp set. And for this one, I've already colored the images so you don't have to painfully watch me color. Okay, here is your back panel. If you have a greeting or something written on here, make sure you have it top and bottom the way you want it. Now, you're going to take your center panel that is folded in a Z fold, okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead, for the sake of the video, use my Stampin' Plus seal. I would either use Stampin' Plus or your tear and tape. You really want to make sure it stays together. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus, we hope, because sometimes I use my tape runner and my tape runner hates me. It just really does. Sometimes I wonder. Okay, so I'm going to do it close to the score mark and on the end. And then on the opposite side, on your other Z fold, I'm going to do it next to this. I'm going to try to do it next to the score line and next to the edge. Okay. So now, your first one, see where your fold is? Go ahead and lay it right up against that fold. Square it up. See there? And then just fold it over. Okay? Now this one, you're going to fold this down, and then you're going to square it up on the edge there, and voila, look at that, doink, doink, right? It has to be in the Z fold in order for the card to fold down correctly, so, you know, that's why it's done opposites, okay? So now we're going to add our top panel. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this one. We're going to add at least 3 rows of Stampin' Seal Plus. I need to get my creases going there real good. Look at my tape behaving today. Normally, I don't know what it is about my tape. I get them all tangled up and all kind of stuff. Okay, so now make sure you have your lettering the right way. Remember, we got fa la 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 la. Now, let's take, oops, wrong way. Sorry, my bad. And we're gonna put it right on the edge here, right where it lines up. Glue it down, fold it the other direction, and glue it down. You have just literally created your diorama. Look at that. How fun is that? Okay, now we're just going to decorate it real quick, and I went ahead and used the greeting from Perched in a Tree that says "Let Heaven and Nature Sing," and I'm going to go ahead and use the smallest diorama to cut that out. And go ahead and run that through my, what I did is I white embossed it on black. You could do your greeting in any form you'd like, but I kind of wanted to stick with the whole diorama thing here. So let's grab our little characters. I've already colored them. Got a couple trees. Even got a couple of the little notes I was able to cut out. A little lamp post, little guys. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to put my little guys in there first, and I'm going to want them on the middle layer somewhere. I'm going to use my tweezers so I can grab this. So I'm thinking I want them somewhere about there, okay? So we can still see the background. So that means I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on the sides where it's going to connect. And where else was it connecting? It was connecting a little here at the top. And a little here on the bottom. So I'm going to tuck that in there. And you can, stand it up and look and see to make sure that you can see your characters plus still see your background. And I've got a little glue on there, so I was able to move it around as I needed. Now let's tuck a Christmas tree back in the back. So I'm going to slide that up in there. And I want it to be able to be seen. So let's do it about right there. Make sure it's straight. And let's take our other tree, and I'm going to put it on the second level. I only need glue on the side that's going to be touching. So I'm going to lay that in there to where I can still see my other tree. My girlfriend and I kind of laughed at the end of all this. We kind of ended up with a red, white, and blue holiday theme going on here. But it's kind of cool. I'm going to pull that one down just a little. Just give it a little offset. Get the glue to stick there. And now our little guy here, let's just put him on the front here. So I think I'm going to put him right there. And we've got our lamp post. A little glue on that. I'm going to put that offset right over here. Got a little glue on there. And then we've got our greeting. So I'm just going to glue directly down over here. Now some of it's overlapping, so I don't put glue there. So everything's kind of overlapping, and you see it from the front in all areas. Now just finish it off. Let's add just oh, I forgot my little notes. Where's my little notes? Let's put my little notes on there. Let's make sure my little mouse is glued down there. I think I'll put one about here. Where's that other little guy? Here it is. These little tiny notes were not fun to fussy cut, I'm just saying. And let's put one here. And we will add just a couple bling. That one there. These are just red rhinestone. You have to have bling on a card, especially holidays. I'm kind of a weirdo about it. Oh, that's stuck to my finger. And there you go. How fun is that? And then when you fold it down, now when you fold it one direction, it doesn't really fold too great, but when you fold it the other, it does. I don't know why. We couldn't figure it out. If you know, let me know, but I have a feeling it has to do, pardon me, with that Z-fold. But this will fit in a, where is my, it'll fit in a legal envelope. So I think I even wrote it on the tutorial that the it'll fit in a 4 by 9.5 envelope, regular slimline legal envelope. So there is that, and then you can write on your back, write on the back for your greeting and such. Okay, now we're gonna hurry up and do the regular size one. And I did the same thing. I've got all the images done. I'm just gonna go over doing a small one. Alright, and I even did some of it for you. I'm gonna show you a fun way to put this die in the middle. And I've already cut these to fit, okay? Now, for the DSPs used on this one, we used Rings of Love for the front piece. Okay, this is our front piece. And it's got this beautiful little birds. And I used the same sheet to create the background piece, okay? And then we have a little bit of soft sea foam for our centerpiece. So I've already got that one glued. Let's go ahead and glue this one. It's our front piece. And now the measurements for the regular diorama, okay? Let me glue this and I'll give you those. But like I said, they will be listed here on the blog, and they will also be on the PDFs I created for you. So for the regular measurements of a diorama, your front and back panels are going to be 8.5 by 5 inches each, okay? And the center panel is going to be 6.5 inches by 5 inches. And we're going to do the same scoring on this as we did the other one. So your front and back panel are going to be scored at 2 inches in from each side, and your center panel is going to be scored at 1 inch from each side. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, let's bring in our cutter. Cutter scorer, cutters. My board is filthy. Okay, so this is our front panel. So we want to score it at 2 inches. Turn it to the other side, and you know, it kind of got a little overlap. I think it's going to be okay though. So we're going to go 2 inches. Now your back panel, two inches and 2 inches. Now if you're using DSP that is directional, make sure you put it together accordingly, like we did on the other one. That showed you how to use directional. This one is not really, I mean, it's going to be directional on the front so that your birds stand up. So, and now our centerpiece, which was, the centerpiece was 6.5 inches long by 5 inches. And we're going to score it 1 inch. And we're going to score the other side at 1 inch. Now, let's use the same dioramas, but we're going to go a little bit smaller. So our front panel, if you do your score lines a little bit so you know what you're working with. Did I score that? Oh yeah, I did. Just want to make sure I fold it in the right space. So now for this one, we're probably going to use, what did I use on the one I did? You don't want them to leave too much of a thing. Let me see. Alright, so we're going to use the same dies. I'm just going to angle it a little bit. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to angle it. So let's run this one through the machine. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other one, where I'm going to, now you definitely want to keep that DSP. Look how pretty that is. So now I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other one. I'm going to lay that in there, line up my score lines together, and then figure out where I want my next smallest die. Now if you're doing rectangles or so forth, you can actually do this and just lay them in there. So I kind of want that one a little bit offset, so I want it about there. And we're just going to pick up that front panel. Make sure you're within your two score lines, and we're going to run it through. These are so quick. They really are. I was amazed, you know, once we figured out, sorry I moved my plate and stuff. Once we figured out the actual measurements, oh my gosh, these are actually really simple to make. And I was teasing my crap buddy Darlene that if I really messed up this video, I was gonna give her credit for it. I didn't, Darlene, so you're safe. Okay, let's assemble, and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do on this centerpiece. Let's move this aside. So let's do our score lines. I'm going to do our center Z-fold. And now I cut out the birch tree die from the Perched in a Tree set. Everything I used will be listed on the blog post. And I wanted these trees to be in the background. I mean, isn't that kind of really cool? I mean, just to do the trees. So all I did is I die cut them, and then I'm going to add some tape around my little, come on tape machine, don't give it on me now. I got it a little where I didn't want it. And then I'm going to, let's make sure I got this going the correct direction. I do. And then I'm just going to lay it over my trees here. See there? And now we're just going to trim it off. I guess I need to bring scissors over if I want to do that, don't I? Oh, I do have scissors over here. There we go. So now I'm just going to trim the excess. Okay, I'm going to try to trim the excess here. It seemed easier when I first did it. And I'm going to trim this just a little because I don't want it to interfere with my fold. voila. Look at there. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now we're going to do the same. We're going to take our back piece. Get my folds going here. Score them very well. For some reason I didn't glue my paper right, I don't think. That's right. Okay. So there's our back. Now we got our Z-fold. So we're going to do our tape on the edge. Next. Come on, tape runner, you can do it. Let's see if we can do a whole video without you snagging up. You know, I do better with the Stampin' Seal Plus. I just seem to do better with it, and somehow I just glued that. Okay, so now remember your first fold, line it up with your seam there, and then just fold it over. Okay, now the next one, what did I do wrong? Oh no, I didn't. Okay, your next one, you want it to be level with the top. See there? Oh, did it stick? Ooh. Oh, okay. So I usually fold it and then there we go. There we go. See, we got it going on. We got it going on. Oh, you know what I did? I glued it in there backward. This needed to be in the back. I am not going to be able to get that off there. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. Wish me luck. I don't believe I did that. After I just told you to make sure you did it straight. Ooh, we might get it off. Be able to position it. Oh my gosh, you guys are hoping. Alright, I'm gonna own it. You know you've done this. You know you have peeled stuff apart. So you get, ooh, we did it, look. Okay, so now, this, let's make sure I got it facing the right way here. Okay, this needs to be facing forward. So this one goes on the edge. There we go. And this one goes on the fold. There we go. Oh my goodness, we saved it. It's a save. Okay, now we need to fold this one. I probably should have added more tape to that. But I think it's going to stay together fine because we have another layer going on there. Alright, now this one, make sure your birds are up straight. See, my birds are up straight. Put our tape on the flaps. Okay, now we want to make sure our birds are upright. We're going to line it up. Line up this side. Okay, so we're a little bit off on that center because of the way I had to retape it, but it's still working. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so let's add some embellishments. I've already die cut everything. I did the same thing with the greeting on this one. I used the diorama to kind of match what I had going on. We colored a little bird. We got some leaves. I love the dies in this perched in the tree set. I just love them. But along with this aspen tree, you just can't go wrong. Alright, so I'm just going to add a stem here. A little glue on there. Put our stem here on the bottom. Put our little buddy in there. So he needs some on his tail and his feet. Put a little glue on his tail and his feet. Now I want to add a few little leaves here. These I did in soft sea foam to coordinate here, and some soft succulent to coordinate with the DSP. And see, we don't really have to put anything in the middle. You could do some of the leaves in the middle if you wanted to back in here. But we've got that tree dye back in there. I've got glue or sticky on my fingers so they keep picking up. You know, we could add some leaves in there if we wanted. Let's see how the soft succulent would look. Oh, you know what? I'm going to add them right there at the top. They do look kind of cool. So just at the top of those trees. Looky there, you guys. How fun is that? I'm a little warped in the middle there, but I think it's because I had retaped, or I had pulled it apart. But it's all good. And then when it lays down, it'll fit in a 5x7 envelope. Okay, I do like the soft sea foam in the back. The very first one I did, I used some tree DSP in the back, and I just did kind of a white center. I think this one here, the new one we did, adding a little more color and some sky in the background, that kind of bluish. I think that I'd vote for that one. All right, let's add our greeting, and I'm just going to put that up here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that edge right there. Just do a little fold, and then we're going to add some glue there instead of cutting it off. That way you have a little more strength on that greeting. And then I'm just going to put it right about there. And there you go. How fun are these, right? They're simple, they're fun, they're quick. What takes you more time is coloring images, but you know what? Use your some of your memories and more, or maybe your paper pumpkin. That's it. All right, that is it. That is what I had for you today. 2 diorama cards. I will include all the PDFs and the supplies and yada 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 on the blog post. Make sure you do the blog hop and leave a comment on each of the blogs to be entered to win a free prize. Thank you, Tammy, for always taking care of us and giving away great prize patrol. We hope you have a very happy stampin' day, and talk to you soon. Bye bye. Stay safe.